Hey everybody, welcome to Get to Know Your Wedding Pro. My name is Reed with Best Made Videos. We are a wedding videography company based out of West Seattle, Washington. And I'm really excited today to be joined by Jessica Gardner of a catering company down in Portland, Elephants Catering and Events. Thank you so much for reaching out and expressing interest to come on the podcast. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So my name is Jessica, and I'm one of the catering and event planners at Elephants Delicatessen in Portland. We are a catering company that also has 8 cafe locations. So we do a little bit of everything from weddings, events, pickup in stores, and lots of different variety.
And how long, I've been looking through your website this morning, quite a wonderful documented history on there. How long, do you want to give a little insights? You guys have been around for a long time and maybe a little bit of history of it?
Yeah, so Elephants opened 40 years ago in 1979. And then since then, we have locations kind of pop up every couple years or so. We're currently at 8 of the cafe locations. And then the catering and events portion opened up in about 10 years ago. And so that's when we started doing full service catering. But even before then, we would do corporate delivery lunches and deliveries to residences and things through our cafe locations, mainly our Northwest location, which is the one that a lot of people in Portland go to and know of, kind of our flagship store. And yeah, we do all sorts of different meals in our cafes, from wood-fired pizzas to sandwiches, soups, bars. We have a whole bakery and dessert portion as well. And yeah, we are very, very diverse. It gives us a lot of different options for us and our clients, and lots of kind of really good relationships with our clients too because of that. We're kind of like the family atmosphere.
Yeah, because I mean, Portland, like Seattle, is really kind of known for good food, right? And diverse and really kind of authentic, and all those kind of trendy words. What do you guys what do you pride yourselves in terms of that and the quality of everything that you deliver to your clients and couples and everybody else?
Yeah, so as far as kind of bringing good food to Portland, Elephants was one of the first ones to do that. Our owners had done a lot of traveling in Europe and really liked the small delicatessen cafe feel that was over there. And Portland at that time didn't have anything like that. There wasn't espresso, there wasn't fresh squeezed orange juice, anything like that. So they kind of are the ones that pioneered that here and started bringing that in. And as far as the relationships between the community and us and what we bring to it, we are a certified B Corp, which just means that it's a certification that kind of validates our commitment to serving the local community. We make sure to source local items and meals. We donate a lot to shelters and different programs within the city, use clean energy, and kind of all those different things is what that does. And well, we already did it. The certification just really validates that.
That's awesome. I don't know if I've ever heard of that before. Is that something specifically to Portland, or how does that work?
I don't know a ton about it, but in general, I do know that it's not necessarily just a Portland thing. It is a national certification, and possibly even throughout the world. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely throughout America. And any company can be certified. It's a test that you take, and if you reach a certain amount of points throughout the different questions that they ask, then you're able to get the B Corp certification.
Well, I think that's fantastic, and that's definitely seems like a Pacific Northwest-y kind of Portland thing to do, to be renewable, and that sounds awesome. How did you get involved in kind of being a part of the company, and what is your background?
Yeah, so I have always had a passion for the event industry. My senior project in high school was actually to job shadow an event planner. So I did that and loved the wedding that I helped shadow for my project. And so I decided to go to school to be an event planner and went to school in Vancouver, Washington at the International and Hospitality Academy, earned a certification in hotel, restaurant, and event management, managed an event venue for a couple years, and then wanted something new, worked for a rental company and designed and did events, and then wanted something new again. And now I'm here at Elephants as one of their catering and event planners, and then kind of also helps with some of the designing and things like that, because our clients, specifically like our catering department and things, we really like to be as much of a one-stop shop as we can. So we partner with a lot of local rental companies and vendors and things like that. So I'm still able to do the design part and help our clients work through those little details as well, in addition to their catering needs.
What excited you the most about joining the team? What was it that really motivated you to make that leap and do what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I had always heard a lot about elephants in general. Just mainly the cafe locations is what I knew a lot about. A lot of my family members grew up going to the cafes and things, and I knew of their reputation that way, and found out that they also did catering, and Elephants also owns a couple of event venues. And I had experience with venues as well, so I saw that they did a mix of things and really thought that it would be a fun team to join and get some more experience in the event industry. I've been in it for 5 years now, so not super new, but still newer, and wanted to see how a bigger company, catering company, did the event planning side of things.
When you were talking about, being kind of a one-stop shop, expand more on that, because it is so hard, nowadays, and, couples and weddings, and it just gets crazy and trying to source everything and figure it out. How do you really try to make it easy for them? And what is, what other, I know you mentioned briefly kind of the services and other things, but just expand on that if you could.
Yeah. So even with our general inquiry form on our website for weddings, one of the things that we ask them is, are there any other items that you need? And we break it down a little bit, like linens, china, decor. And so right from the beginning, as soon as we get that form, we're able to see like, oh, the client does need decor and linens and all that kind of stuff. And because we do partner with these different rental companies, we have that partnership, and then we also have the knowledge of what they offer. And so we're able to straight up ask the clients in the middle of, what kind of appetizers do you want? Also, do you need a stage? Do you need a tent? What's your venue like? What is your theme? What are your colors? And we can kind of do those details for them as well. So that way they don't have to have 10 different contacts with 10 different vendors. We still definitely, of course, recommend getting a coordinator, because we're the event planner role. So, for example, my role doesn't go on site with our catering clients. So still definitely need somebody the day of, but we try to be as helpful as possible and offer as many suggestions as we can, and really make sure that their event experiences are great ones. That way they can enjoy their day or their event if it's not a wedding, if it's an auction or something. Want to just make sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah, because you said that you enjoy still being able to kind of flex your creative muscle a little bit with helping, with some of that design stuff. Is that important as a creative, that, just feeling like you're still able to, even though maybe you're running more like logistics and things now, but also still being able to flex that side?
Yeah, definitely. My passion is definitely designing and doing decor, and having somebody tell me that their color scheme is this and their general idea is this, and being able to really tie that all together for them. So for me, I love that Elephants does that. That was one of the things that I was really excited about, is that they did do that, and that I'd still be able to help clients with that if I got the role, and I did get the role. And for me personally, one of the venues that Elephants runs is the Atrium at Montgomery Park, and I help manage that. So I'm able to do all the design and stuff for events that are there, as well as catering events that I'm helping with on the catering side.
What do you like about the Portland wedding community down there? I know we do the podcast here and kind of all over the Northwest. What is it like kind of building those relationships and managing the venue and really being a part of that? Do you enjoy that? It's different than running this, maybe a self-standing restaurant or something where you're really part of kind of a bigger community, right?
Yeah, I absolutely love the Portland vendor community. Almost every single vendor that I have come across in my 5 years doing this is really all about like community over competition, and everybody's super helpful, no matter what industry you're in. Like some of the catering companies, they all will chat together. When I was in the rental industry, we would all talk to each other and kind of pass ideas back and forth. And same with venues. Everybody is just super helpful towards each other. And that's actually how I heard about your podcast. Is we have a group in Portland called the Art of Weddings. And it's a really great group to be a part of. And one of the members had posted in the Facebook group your link saying, talking about you and saying that you had this podcast and we're looking for vendors to join. And so it's really nice that we're able to bounce ideas off each other, share information about other vendors like yourself with each other. And especially with everything that's going on right now, we have weekly meetings to talk about how everybody is doing with the whole COVID-19 situation. And we're all here to support each other. And I really absolutely love it.
Yeah, it does make it unique. And like you said, especially kind of now with everything that's going on, just, feeling like, I think sometimes being, running a business or, being a part of it, you feel like you could be on a little bit of an island. And I do think it's nice to, like you said, have colleagues and others that, in groups and forums and things that you can, just feel like get ideas from and kind of what's going on. Because it is scary, and it is, like you said, in a unique situation where you're, part of this, larger business, but still also in the community, the wedding community kind of as a whole. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely great.
Talking about the food and, Portland and what you guys offer, have you noticed a trend or what is that, what are the big, I guess, popular, or where do you guys tend to sway more, and what is that kind of trending going in the last couple of years?
Yeah, in general, Elephants is really known for like their comfort food meals. And I think a lot of that has to do with, that's what we serve at our cafes. And so people growing up with Elephants cafes knows, oh, their mac and cheese is really great. I want to have that at my wedding. And in fact, I was just chatting with one of our other gals here, and she was saying that we did a wedding a couple years ago where the bride, like I just said, was obsessed with our mac and cheese, and we ended up doing individual place setting mac and cheeses for all of the guests because that was her only must have for her wedding. So we do a lot of kind of fun stuff like that. And then something that we are noticing a lot right now that we think is going to start trending is plated meals a little bit more, especially with the COVID-19 situation. People are kind of starting to go away from buffets just because of how many people touch that thing serving food and things like that. So we think that we're going to be seeing a lot more plated meals, definitely probably still comfort food. The thing that's unique about Elephants is that we can do comfort food, but we can also do really elegant 5-course plated dinners. So there's a nice variety of different options for our clients, and not everybody quite knows that. So that's something that we're working on getting the word out a little bit more on too, is that we can do everything. And if you have an idea, we are here to listen, and we're going to try and make it happen.
Yeah, that was something that I hadn't even really thought about, when all this kind of started. Obviously everyone's kind of predisposed to think about their own, like how is COVID and everything kind of affecting me. But, with the bar service and then with catering, I mean, it has to be, and not that, obviously, licensed and sanitary and being clean anyway, but that just has to be like of like, the most paramount thought, moving forward is how can we, protect, ourselves and the clients, but then also like how to educate, because some people don't even, you guys do this every day and most people don't, you don't know what you don't know when it comes to like, being clean and sanitary with that.
Yeah, definitely. We have definitely learned a lot recently. We did really well with our sanitation processes and stuff throughout our cafes and catering before, but even now we've implemented even more procedures and really making sure that everything is top notch and safe for not only our clients, but for all of our employees as well.
I love the idea that you were saying about, the comfort food, but elevated and really, bringing in, those unique tastes and, memories that people have, as someone that has eaten his fair share of, wedding meals. It's like when you show up and it's, the chicken and, asparagus again or whatever. And you're like, oh, darn, I wish like, I think a lot of people would be really happy with, mac and cheese or, anything else. I think it's anything that's kind of outside of the norm.
Something different.
Yeah. And you had talked about, the owners starting this. I mean, how do you guys come up with the menus and things, or how is what you guys focus on? How is that, where do you try to steer that towards besides just like comfort food?
They are always thinking of new ideas. Over the years, we have what were they just saying, 4,000 or 5,000 different recipes that we have come up with. And everything is homemade. And like I said earlier, B Corp, everything's locally sourced. And so that's definitely something that we consider when we're creating our menus and coming up with new recipes and things like that. We have a whole executive chef team that works together to come up with all of those. And it really depends upon the client too. So we have preset menus, but occasionally we'll have somebody that will want something different, or they have a Havana Nights themed auction and they really want a menu themed towards that. And so we'll come up with a whole new menu for them and new recipes to try. And it just gets added into our recipe books. That way we have it for years to come as well.
What's the story behind the elephant? Because I'm looking here on the site too, and tons of wonderful, imagery and wordplay and, the LMAil and everything. How do you, what's the story behind that and the branding?
Yeah. So it's funny during, when I first got hired and I was doing my new hire orientation, somebody had asked that. And, from what the answer was during my new hire orientation, our owners just thought that it was going to be memorable. The elephant doesn't necessarily mean anything specific. Elephants are supposed to bring good luck and such, but they just thought that it was going to be a memorable name and it would stick out to people. And it's definitely a name and symbol that people remember and recognize.
No, I love it. And definitely, especially with the branding overall. Very good. What do you guys, and I ask this a lot, for any vendor type, photo, video, florals, whatever. What do you wish more people knew or asked about when it came to, catering and putting together a menu, planning the wedding? I mean, what do you, kind of the education piece, what do you wish that more people knew or thought to ask, or maybe that you find that you guys, questions that you answer a lot that you wish, more people, thought about?
Yeah. One thing that I think people don't always think about with catering specifically, and I guess would also kind of go with a couple other vendors too, like photographers and coordinators, is that they knowing that the service, like the labor, is also for before and after the event as well. I think is the thing that I have that I find myself explaining to a lot of people, because they'll see that labors on there for 10 hours, for example, when their event's only 6 hours. But it's also including the setup and tear down and things, which I also know goes on your side, and coordinators and things. So definitely that. And then really, I think thinking about what your overall look is going to be. And that's probably coming from my design, love for design side too. But because every little detail really does matter when you're putting together your full vision, from the food to the service type. Are you going to have buffet, family style, plated? All of those little details matter for putting the whole picture together. And a lot of people just want a quote on the pricing, but don't necessarily realize that the venue type or the how long it's going to take to get from the truck to the venue is going to matter for walking and carrying and things. So just all those little details.
Yeah, it's like when I got started and, you talk to people and they say like, oh, well, we just need, we don't need video of the whole day. We just need video of, maybe the ceremony and then like our first entrance and then like maybe the dance. And you're like, well, that's more goes into it. And it's the same with catering, you set up and break down and everything else. It is hard sometimes to kind of like really paint that whole picture, because it's stuff that we go through every day and they're just sitting there and they're like, well, the ceremony is only 30 minutes. So I don't really understand how it's like, well, we got to set up and you got to do all this other stuff. So it's always kind of interesting, and especially hearing, your side of it too, in a kind of a different world than even I'm in, sometimes.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely something that can apply across the border to all event vendors.
What was it that drew you to study, event hospitality and all that back in the day? Anyway, what was it that inspired you to pursue that?
Well, I had started. I started following Bridal Bliss on Instagram when I was in high school, and I fell in love with all the weddings that they were doing. So I started researching what really a wedding planner and coordinator was and what they did, and saw that it's actually like a whole market and different vendors and everything. And I found out that one of the girls that used to live across the street from me, she was a couple years older than me, had become a wedding planner and lived in Florida. And I started chatting with her, and she told me, well, I'm coming back to Oregon to coordinate my brother's wedding this fall. Did you want to job shadow me? And so that's how I did that for my senior project, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Helping design the centerpieces or set up the centerpieces with her that day, and just everything. Watching how everything was set up, watching the other vendors connect with each other, seeing all the guests happy, seeing the bride and groom happy, and I instantly fell in love. So it's kind of a mix between stalking Bridal Bliss on Instagram and social media, and then I seen your project, and I just knew that that's what I wanted to do.
That's fast. It's so interesting to hear, someone from the other side. I had, not the faintest concept of anything about weddings until, I showed up at our first one, years ago on a Craigslist ad. And it's funny to hear the other side and someone that, had dreamed about it. And that's awesome. I love all the different paths and everything that bring people to this wonderful world. I always say, I think it's so interesting hearing, everyone is kind of guided by their own path, and it certainly then you end up bringing different things to, what you do now because of that path. And I always think that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's fun to see where everybody came from and where everybody goes, and yeah, it's definitely interesting.
What do you take the most pride in terms of what you do now? What do you where is that motivation, and what do you, I guess just that, what do you take the most pride in what you do?
I'd say it's really being able to communicate with my clients and learning what their vision is and being able to see everything come together. That's probably what I take the most pride in, is seeing just seeing how their day unfolds and being able to be a part of that, and knowing that I had a little piece in helping their wedding or auction or whatever event they're hosting take place. It just, I don't know how to explain it. It just brings me a lot of joy. I just love it.
Why don't you talk about some of the awesome kind of locations that you guys have, and looking through, the photos and everything, it really is kind of an eclectic mix like you would expect to see, of Portland storefronts and everything. What is the feeling that you guys want to have, or what is the vibe, or what's the thought process kind of behind that?
Yeah. So we have two different types of cafe locations. So the first type is kind of our all-encompassing store, which is going to be our Northwest 22nd location in Corbett. The overall vibe that we're going for is just to have our guests feel welcome, and know that as soon as they walk in, they're going to be helped and really be a part of our Elephants family. And so the stores are really set up all kind of homey looking and cute, and there's gift options and deli counters and a bar and a kind of all encompassing little cafe spot. And then the second one is going to be our flying elephant stores, and those are just they're smaller versions of our cafes. So we have one at the Portland airport, just to kind of help give another cafe option and food option of food that's easy to take onto planes or eat real quick before you get on the plane. So there's a flying elephant at PDX, and then there's one at Montgomery Park, which is also the venue that we own. Because it's a multi-grade, what's the word I'm looking for? Like office building. And so there's a little Flying Elephants Cafe there. There's one at OHSU. We just opened a new store. Well, it was supposed to open last month, so it's ready to open whenever we are able to officially open it with the governor's mandates and things. So with all of them, with the flagship stores and then our Flying Elephants, just homey, feel good, family friendly, and knowing that you can get easy and good food that's going to be quick to eat, or right now even easy to freeze. All of our cafes and then our catering department has moved to all the exact same menu, and all the meals are easy to either reheat or to freeze, and they freeze for up to a week to kind of help families not have to worry about cooking for their week or having to go to the grocery store right now.
I know it's been such a shift in the last couple of months, and especially with you guys, and I can't imagine having storefronts and things and businesses, and it must have been pretty exhausting the last couple of months, kind of getting through all this.
Yeah, it's definitely been a challenge. We had one that had to close just because, one, if I remember correctly, that it wasn't quite big enough to do like the 6-foot distancing rule throughout the aisles and such. And then the other reason is because a lot of the businesses in that building were just closing with the regulations and things, so there wasn't going to be enough business. But all of our other stores are still open. Our catering department's still open. To make everything easy, we did, like I said, we had to switch to all the same menus, so everyone's operating from the same menu now, which is actually kind of nice. It makes it easy. And, definitely learning to adapt, but we're adapting well. In fact, we have a Mother's Day special going on right now that we're putting in orders for as we speak to get delivered this weekend.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. When we kind of get back to some realm of normalcy here, what do you want to see grow or improve, and that could be with the business or with yourself. Where do you want to work towards and accomplish kind of once we get back on the track here?
Yeah, I definitely want to, um, I'd say, focus on really reassuring our clients, whether they're cafe clients or catering clients, that that we're still here, that we are taking all the precautions still that we can, and um, really still make that connection with them, so that way they know that they can still come to us, and that we would still be happy to help them with their events, and just make sure that they feel like they're taken care of. For the catering department specifically, one thing that we're going to be focusing on is um, getting more marketing and stuff going out for our venues. So Left Bank Annex, Montgomery Park, and we actually have two of our venues are at our store locations. One's at our Corbett location, one's at our Northwest 22nd location. So working on getting the word out on those and getting the catering company back up and running.
What do you like most about living down in Portland and in that area? I know it's not incredibly far from Seattle, but sometimes it does feel like it's a world apart. What do you enjoy most about the community down there?
Yeah, I love that Portland is kind of central to everything. You can drive an hour and you can be at the beach. You can drive an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you can be in Central Oregon. You can be at the desert. You can be at the mountain with the snow. No matter which direction you go, you're going to get something completely different, which is also really nice too, though, because there's a lot of people in the Portland area that are really into different activities. And if you want to go skiing or surfing or kayaking, there's options for all of that. So that's definitely something that I love. And then I love in Portland itself, the food culture. There's lots of great different cafes and restaurants and coffee shops to go to. And all of those different places are kind of similar to how the wedding industry specifically is. A lot of them are, they work with each other a lot, and good community, and it's just a nice little area to be a part of. And I personally am a big fan of the scenery. I love the trees and different shades of green and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. Right before, like literally the day before all this kind of got halted, I was down in Portland doing a video for the University of Oregon and was interviewing a bunch of lawyers and judges kind of in the, the court area down there, whatever you call that, with like the courthouses and everything. And it was such a delight. I don't normally, we're kind of in and out of Portland for weddings or whatever, but it was just really kind of neat. I had my little trolley with my, my tripod and stuff, and just kind of wandering the streets from building to building to, interview everybody. It was kind of a treat to spend time in that city that, like I said, normally, at least for our, part, we're kind of in and out of a lot. And just really being able to kind of spend the day down there exploring was kind of fun.
Yeah, it's fun to wander around. A lot of times when I'm in downtown, it's not for anything specific. It's just walking around, enjoying the sunshine, looking at all the different buildings and interacting with people. It's definitely fun.
Before we let you go, what do you wish more people knew about, you guys and what you do? And that could be something along with the food or the service or, expanded services you guys offer. What do you wish more people knew about you guys?
Yeah. I think so. A lot of our clients, our cafe clients, only know about the cafes, and a lot of our catering clients only know about the catering company. I think it would be really nice to have people realize that we can do everything. We have the stores, that way you can go inside and grab a quick sandwich, and we have the catering companies, that way we can do a full service 5-course meal for you and help plan your event. I wish more people knew that we have that variety, not only with our services, but with our meals, because kind of same thing. A lot of people know that we do comfort food, but don't really realize that we do plated meals. And a lot of our more higher end clients know that we do 5-course meals, but don't really realize that they can also get mac and cheese as a side if they wanted to. So definitely something that we're kind of starting to work on. But I'd say that's my top thing that I wish people knew is that we can do everything. And if you have a question or have a need or want a new menu item, we are here to help and we'll make it happen for you.
Yeah, I love the creativity that goes behind it, and I am not the biggest foodie in the world when it comes to my turkey sandwich every day, but I do think it's such a great way when we go to weddings or events or anything else, and just the endless ways of kind of expression that people are able to do. I just had Ben, a DJ, on yesterday for an upcoming episode, and the same thing. I think as important as music is, to an event and the mood. I mean, as important or more so is the food and the quality and the creativity behind that. I think it's got to be exciting to work around. Don't you think?
Yes, I love it. It's fun to customize everything, whether it's be the DJ or the designer or the food. It's fun to, like I was saying earlier, get all those little details and make everything come together.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. It's been so nice kind of getting to chat with you. I so appreciate you guys reaching out with the interest of coming on the podcast. It's always fun to meet new people and hear new voices, even if we're doing kind of all this remotely right now with everything that's going on.
Yeah, it was great to chat with you too, Reed.
If people are curious to learn more about you guys and the catering and the food and events and everything else, where would you have them check out?
Yeah, so I would have them go to our website, elephantsdeli.com, and then from there, there's a tab specifically for the cafes, and there's a tab specifically for catering. So you can kind of go to whatever your needs are that day.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much again. If you're like Jessica and you're interested in coming on a future episode of the podcast, you can do like she did and fill out our questionnaire. You can go to www.bestmadevideos.com/podcast guest. And sometimes it's easy as that, and you fill it out. And if it looks like a good fit, we'll get it going. And that's what we did here. So I so appreciate it again. Thank you. This has been another episode of Get to Know Your Wedding Pro. Check back next week for another wedding interview. Thanks so much.